Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. This is for anyone who leads a team. Maybe you're a business owner. Maybe your aspiration is to lead a team. Maybe you're within sales and you want to elevate yourself. Not easy to do without some help. And we've got somebody that's got a lot of help for you today. She is somebody that works with so many different companies, whether it's HR, whether it's small, medium-sized, large businesses. It's all about the outcome and seeing that measurable results. She's an amazing coach for leaders. Denise Krumlian joins us here in the program. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Steve. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful to have you here. And I had this conversation with somebody 2 days ago, and it was connected to a group that I'm part of. And it's an age-old phrase, but it starts at the top. And as much as I want to ignore that, when I look back to my career and that journey and those that I've worked for and companies I've worked with, it starts at the top. It really does. And whether people stay or go, their performance, it's the leader that you look toward. How would you describe a great leader?
A great leader. There's so many facets of that. But in a nutshell, I would say they're really super clear on what their mission is. They have a vision for how to get where they need to go. They have a strategy that's consistent, and they're able to communicate to their team so that they can execute.
Yeah, that's communication is another key point we'll get to at some point. What do you hear from people that you work with that come before you that may want to work with you, and it just starts with that conversation? What are they telling you?
It can go from they are stuck in their current position. It can be they don't know how to motivate their team. They're lacking engagement with their team. They're not sure how to create that vision or the strategy, and how, if they even have a strategy, what to do with it and how to get the team to rally behind it. So there's multiple different areas. Sometimes it's they want also to transform their own lives. They want to be a better leader, and how do they do that? So those are all some of the things that I help people with.
You know, it's interesting when you think about it. We're every single one of us. We're all leaders. What are we leading? Ourselves? Our
Absolutely.
family? I mean, I don't think we realize, what's actually going on there. We just do life, but then now you introduce people underneath you, and they're looking toward you. Their livelihood depends on your leadership. You, I find, are quite different in that you offer holistic leadership training.
Mhm.
How do you define that?
Yeah, so when people come to me for one specific thing, maybe it's a career transition, or maybe it's trying to elevate their leadership, we don't just look at that one piece of it. We look at the whole person, and we talk. It's a co-creative process in coaching. And so we talk through what matters to them and help the person get clarity on what is most important so that they can have purpose-driven outcomes, and also looking at their whole life, more life fulfillment, because that's part of my why of being a coach, is having had my own coach and understanding my own journey, is like understanding your own purpose and getting to that place. I really feel like coaching is my purpose, and it's such an exciting thing for me to be in that place now. And I love helping other people to see that transformation and their clarity so that they can just thrive.
Hmm. I want to share with you, and I love the holistic part of what you do because it aligns with me in my journey, kind of figured it out. And in this group that I referred to, I was talking with one of the men in the group, and he's stuck in a certain situation. Basically, I'll laser this, but he wants to put on an event for his business. There's leadership connected to all of this, but he's stuck. And we tried to help him to figure out where he's stuck. Ask lots of questions. Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid of failure? What's going on there? And along the way, I said to him, and he's had some challenges along the way, but the side note here is he's a superstar and he doesn't even know it. Like he presents well, he looks amazing. He doesn't take stock in all of that stuff. But I said to him, "Do you practice gratitude?"
Mm.
And he looked at me like, well, I pray sometimes yeah, but I don't think he really got it. Um, Gratitude, do you feel holistically is important?
This is like the most important topic. It's gratitude's changed my life. It really has. I've had my own struggles with, getting at the bottom, not knowing where I was going. And it was really gratitude that helped me. And when I created a gratitude practice for myself, it really helped me to get that clarity of what mattered most. When you're practicing gratitude, you can't be thinking about negative things. And if you really practice it in a holistic way where you feel what you're being thankful for, it can really set up your day each day in a different way. So yes, absolutely.
Mm.
It's something I do with my clients. I do it in workshops. I've done it in a Fortune 100 company at the start of a workshop to get open to the possibilities of the day ahead. So yes, absolutely. Gratitude
Hmm.
is critical.
Wasn't planning to go there, and I'm sure we can, blow that topic up at another point, but how do you practice gratitude on a daily basis? What do you got going on?
Yeah. For me, keeping it simple, I call it part of my resilience routine. So in the morning, there's this thing called habit stacking where you might do some exercise in the morning. So I will add on my gratitude practice. I actually also have a gratitude journal right here. So
By the way, wrote in mine when I woke up this morning. Yeah.
love it, love it. So yes, we can maybe offline. I'd love to hear which one you use because I'm always looking for new tools to support my
Well,
clients.
I'm going to share with you. Somebody told me recently, I write in my gratitude journal. I try to every day be honest. Sometimes a couple of days go by. I'm like, and I just put the date I am grateful for, and I write three things. Could be
Mhm,
anything. Could be this delicious cup of coffee.
mhm.
It's my treat.
Yes.
It's not even about the caffeine. I mean, it's decaf, but I'm grateful to the growers,
Mhm.
um, the barista. It could be,
Yeah.
the people that do the packaging, but it could be anything. It's just practicing that gratitude. But I realized in talking with somebody, and I really want your feedback on this. I will write in the morning. Admittedly, sometimes, I'll be rushing to get out. I'm like, gotta hit that journal. So I, take it out of the drawer, write in it quick. I'm not fully present when I write. I mean what I say, but I'm not like there. And
Mhm.
they said to me, you know what you need to do? Write in it before you go to bed. And when you do it, sit on your bed, put your feet on the floor so you're grounded, and write those things in there. And you will get in 14 days. And I just learned this. I'm going to try it.
Mhm.
You'll notice you sleep better. You'll notice a change come in just 14 days. Going to try it
Yeah.
because I feel I'll be very intentional in
Yeah.
doing it as opposed to just,
Mhm.
writing it kind of quick.
Mhm.
How do you do it? What are your thoughts?
I would love to say that I'm perfectly consistent and I'm not, but in the morning, if you can do it first thing in the morning before you get started with your day, that is a great time to do it. And so when I say get started with your day, I mean like going to work. So you might have a morning routine, having it be part of that, and breathing is another piece of it. So you don't even need a journal. You can do this anywhere except for maybe driving because you want to keep if you're having your eyes closed, but you can take a few deep breaths and then, as you said, just write three things that you're grateful for. I also add in three things that you're grateful for about yourself because
Ooh.
yeah, that one is really tricky, especially for some people starting out. I know it was tricky for myself. And just doing that can help open your doors to just loving yourself more. And also, the last piece I do is setting an intention for the day. So, what is my intention? And so it might be fairly similar, like going through the day with ease or happy, peaceful, calm is one of my mantras. But it's about It's about setting yourself up so that in your subconscious, you have that. So I do that in the morning,
Wow.
and at the end of the day isn't also a great time to do it. And that's where this journal that I use does both. So you have a quick thing in the morning, and then you reflect on your day at the end of the day, and think about what made it great, and then what is something you learned.
I want to just go back to that for one moment.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, you
Mhm.
write in it, do you reflect back on the things on just on the day? I feel that we have GPS. You get in the car, unless you know where you're going, GPS.
Mhm. Mhm.
Unless you know what to do, the rest of us don't know what to do. So, like step by
Mhm.
step, I think it
Yeah.
makes it easier. So, at the end of the day, do you reflect back on the day, how the day went? Is it just three short things? Are you just writing sentences? Like, how does it look for you?
For me, it's really just thinking about what was something great,
Okay.
and if it's something that wasn't great, what would I want to do differently? Is there something I can learn from that? And then just, being grateful for what was, and that it's one day. It's also like sometimes we have bad days. It doesn't have to be that we go to bed with that bad feeling. We can let it go and release that. And that's part of that gratitude practice can help with that. Because again,
Hmm.
if you're in the state of gratitude, it's really hard to be in that negative space. So, in scarcity.
It's like your force field.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Uh, Final thought on this, and some other time we might circle back to gratitude because it's so important.
Mhm.
Somebody told me that you shouldn't write in your journal or grateful for things you earned, like materialistic things. I'm going to process that. Um, Maybe it's more of the talent I have that allowed me to earn that materialistic thing. But their belief is it's not, it's not those things that you earned. It shouldn't look that way. Any thoughts on that?
What comes up for me when you say that is the should word, and I'd like to not put any rules around it except for what you're grateful for. I'm not going to tell you what to be grateful for or not to be grateful for. So if
Hmm.
that's what you're grateful for that day, then let it be.
Yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't have to be any more deeper meaning than you're grateful for the house you live in or the car you drive. Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe you're enjoying the ride today, So
I
it's
totally
okay.
agree with you. And if you're feeling it enough to write it, keyword here, feeling
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
That's where I don't care what it is, write it down. Because
Exactly.
you're
Exactly.
feeling, a joy, elation, happiness, and that's what the intent is. The energy has to go there. So you help leaders of leaders, uh, teams, individuals up their game in terms of leadership through coaching.
Mhm.
And we're going to look at that in just a moment. But what's your story? How did you get here in helping people with that?
The short version. So, transformed my own life a few times over. So I've literally reinvented my career, like started off in film and TV and radio. Actually, this is a full circle moment for me
Oh,
because
wow.
in
Welcome. Welcome to my world.
exactly. So I have a huge appreciation for the art of interviewing, having usually been on the other side. So yeah, it's just various things. I thought I was going to be a musician. Then I wanted to be a camera person when I went to school for film and TV, and ended up getting on the business side of things, and kind of just going through my life kind of flowing in my 20s, and then ended up in business and television and project management. And that's when I focused on project management for over 20 years and climbed the corporate ladder, and was a leader in technology and portfolio leadership role for about 13 years. And then while I was doing that, I realized that there was something else there was still something else to do. And what I really loved was helping other people, training them, mentoring them, coaching them in terms of especially project managers. And so that was where I started. And so I started looking into coaching and got my own coach. And through the course of a couple of years, got that clarity that I really wanted to do it, got my certification, and 3 years ago went on my own. And so here I am.
Wow. Oh, good for you. I have to ask this question, and you're deeper, so I feel I can. And many of us struggle with this, and maybe it's our purpose, but you said that there was something else floating out there. Can you describe that feeling?
A lack of fulfillment in my day to day. That energy and excitement of getting up in the morning and doing my thing. I mean, I had a lot of gratitude for my job. I loved the people I worked with. I loved the idea of what we did and the results we were getting. It was just, there was something else that I wasn't sure. It was like this fuzziness, this kind of hole, maybe. I don't know. And I also, had just had my son, so he's now 11, but I went through a few years of how do I balance this whole thing of momhood now and having a leadership role and all of that. So it took a while, but it took, to get that clarity. But I knew that it was an inner knowing that there was something else.
I feel you just said it. The inner knowing, the your intuition, your gut telling you there's something else out there for me that will make me feel complete. And only we can make us feel complete. Nothing else, nobody else can. It's just us. Um, Interesting. And I feel a lot of us are going through that right now. And it could even be somebody that's working in a company and thinking quietly, looking at the general manager, the boss, the supervisor, thinking, I could do that way better than them. But they don't know how. They don't
Yeah,
know, or maybe they're uncomfortable with it and they need to work with somebody like yourself to kind of figure that out. What skills are needed, how they can get that confidence to maybe look for a job in terms of leadership.
exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it's not even better. It's just I want to do what they're doing or something similar, but how do I do it? So actually navigating that change that they're looking for and what is required. And the first step, that's why I started off when you said what is the most important thing for a leader. A lot of people will say inspiration and being inspiring to motivate people. That is important. But if you don't have, it's an and, if you don't have the clarity in what the mission is and that vision, and you're able to articulate that, then the inspiration, and what are you inspiring? So that's why I started with that. And so that's what some of the work we do together when I work with somebody is trying to understand what is it that gets them excited and motivated? Why is that important? Finding their why. And then we can figure out the how together.
What do you think is missing from a lot of leaders today, or maybe those that you work with and you had to push them through? What a couple of elements that are missing? What do you feel?
Um, the biggest blind spot is the drive for the results, I think, and not focusing on the people. And the people are the ones that are getting the results.
Oh,
And
so they're focusing on gotta win, gotta get the numbers up, win, 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 and they're not.
revenue, profits,
Mm,
products, customers, all of that.
yep.
Super important, super important. And that's why this whole concept that I'd love to chat more about and the culture of and comes in, is it's around people and the products and the performance results that they get. It's not one or the other. We've seen industry shifts. And it was all about just performance, performance, performance. I don't know if you ever saw in the Office Space movie, but it's like I'm gonna have to have you come in over the weekend, and it's just like not really caring that this person might have a personal life, but just got to get the work done. And then you see more recently, during COVID, especially, things shifted towards very people centric, and it was great that in some ways that it did that. And now it's kind of going back the other way, and from what I see, at least and perceive, um, and I'm thinking more about it's both. It's not that you just focus on the people or you just focus on the performance results. You focus on the people and making sure they understand their purpose and their role so that they can get the
Mm.
results that are needed.
One in my journey of working under leaders, and I do my own thing now. Um, The one word that speaks to me is authentic because I picture one individual, um, great business person, and he would say, "Yeah, I'm gonna talk like he did because this is what he sounded like. Guys, yeah, you got a problem? You just come right in this office. Oh, door's always open. The door's always open." Nobody wanted to go in there.
Hmm.
Nobody wanted to go in there. And as much as he wanted to show up as somebody that was caring and understanding, all he cared about was himself. And this is not me speaking. This is everybody that worked with him. And there's a lot of good there with him as well.
Hmm.
Um, but his ego was there's not enough room in the ceiling. Um, and it was all about him in the end. And how do I know that? Because the next person that followed him was similar, but a little bit better, but wasn't fully authentic and really wasn't transparent. And it was at that point in this particular position I was in, that's where I left. I said, I'm done. I'm not staying here. And the person in that position now, and I still work with this company, but I don't work for them. Uh,
Hmm.
he is authentic. He is transparent. He doesn't know something. He asks questions. He's like, hey, you want to get together and just have a hamburger? We'll just talk a little bit. Yeah, you want to hang with him. Where the others, no, no, do I have to?
Yeah.
That's where I saw the difference in a good or great leader. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. People know when you're not being authentic. And so it is a hugely important component. And that is a common mistake where leaders will think about that they have to know everything or that they have to be the smartest one in the room or present themselves. And it's really the leader's job to, again, to me is to clear the path for the team to do their work as effectively and efficiently as possible. And to have that vision so clear again that they know that everybody can see that one path forward because and they know what their role is and how to execute their role to get there. And so that's where the connection comes in. If people
Mm,
if you aren't making a connection as a leader with your people, then you don't know necessarily what they need to succeed. You don't know what motivates them. And that's where the leader as kind of a coach themselves of asking questions, being curious. So many times I hear people say when I'm working with leaders, it's like, well, I think that so and so on my team thinks this or that. I'm like, well, what do you know? Have you asked them? And it's a really just them asking the questions instead of assuming is the start of that authenticity.
sure. And I've often heard that people don't leave companies just because they leave because of the leader, unfortunately.
Yeah. It
Mm,
can be. I have heard that many times as well. And yes, it's a yes and again, it's more it can be the leader, but sometimes you can have the best leader and a microculture within your team and the larger culture of the
yeah.
organization isn't the right fit for you and your values. And so I think it can be either or. But that the leader's role is to create that culture. And that's one of the things that I love working with people on is if they say, well, my company doesn't believe in that. Okay, well, make your own microculture. It doesn't mean that you can't still do what you
Mm,
do and what's true to your values and
sure.
still meet the goals of the organization. So there's a fluidity that can happen when you're working with people too to make sure
Yeah.
that it's authentic to you.
Yeah. And some of those principles, some of the stages of that, the strategies,
Mhm.
love to get to, especially, when we talk about connection, culture, communication.
Yeah.
Um, we're out of time for today, so we're going to table that and get back to it. Um, Denise, if somebody wants to connect with you,
Mhm.
maybe their purpose is within them to be a leader, or somebody is a leader of a team and feels that I'm not getting it done. How do they
Mhm.
connect with you? best
Best way is probably my website, so denisekrumlian.com. And I have a contact page right there. You can set up a 30-minute complimentary discovery call and happy to chat with people. My calendar is right there, so it's easy to find a time that can work for you. And that's the easiest way. Also connecting with me on LinkedIn, that's my primary social outlet. I do have Instagram and Facebook as well, but LinkedIn is probably the primary one to go to for getting other tools and tips along the way.
You're so easy to talk with.
Oh, thank you.
You really are.
You
And
are as well.
and authentic. It's just the genuineness that comes from you. And that's the starting point for anything. Thank you so much for being here today, and looking forward next time we get a chance to get together.
I'm excited to see you next too.
And
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. We're coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.